Hi guys, Olive here today to do the classics book tag. This tag was originally created by a blogger, Vienna, over on her blog It's a Books World. I will leave a link to that original tag in the description box below. This tag is precisely what it sounds like. It asks questions regarding classic books. I have really fallen in love with classics since joining BookTube, so me doing this tag is long overdue. Question number 1 is, what's an overhyped classic that you really didn't like? This is going to be an unpopular opinion right off the bat because I really didn't like Emma by Jane Austen. And it is not that I don't like Jane Austen, because Pride and Prejudice and Mansfield Park are two of my all-time favorite books, and I really liked her other books as well. But the appeal of this one in particular just missed me. In my opinion, there is no chemistry between the romantic leads, and their dynamic has always seemed really creepy to me. And instead of having actual personalities, it seems like the side characters spend the vast majority of their time complaining about drafts in the house. If you like this book, can you please do me a favor and explain its appeal for you down in the comment section below? I swear this is not an attempt to troll you. I just legitimately want to know what you love about it, because this is a Jane Austen novel. I want to love this, and as of right now, I really don't. I don't understand the appeal at all, and I definitely, as of right now, do not understand why this one is more well-liked than Mansfield Park. Question number 2, what is your favorite time period to read about? Well, I love the Victorians, of course. Since joining BookTube, I've been introduced to the amazing literature of the Victorian era, thanks largely to Kate Howe and Katie from Books and Things. But I also love reading about the 1920s. I can't just say the 20s anymore, since once again, we find ourselves in the 20s. I have to specify the 1920s. But of course, I really love The Great Gatsby, and also earlier this year I read The Enchanted April, which takes place in the 1920s. There's just something about that decade that I really love. Question number 3, what is your favorite fairy tale? I'm not quite as into fairy tales as some other people on BookTube are. I like them, I just don't love them like other people do. But of the ones that I've read and enjoyed, I would probably say that Beauty and the Beast is my favorite. As you can see behind me, if I move my head this way a little bit, I have the Funko Pop figures. I really loved the movie growing up, and I have really enjoyed all the retellings or books inspired by Beauty and the Beast that I've read, like Uprooted by Naomi Novik or Cruel Beauty by Rosamund Hodge. Question number 4, what is the most embarrassing classic you haven't read yet? For me, that would probably be Anna Karenina. Honestly, the whole topic of Russian classics is a really awkward, uncomfortable, embarrassing thing for me to talk about, because basically all of the Russian classics that I've tried, I have not enjoyed. This tends to really confuse people, including me, if we're being honest. I know for a fact it has confused viewers of this channel in the past, because in case you don't know this about me, I love Russian culture, history, politics. I love the language. I even know a ton about a lot of these authors, and it's just something about the books themselves, they just don't do it for me. But I do plan on reading Anna Karenina. I have no idea how long it's going to take me to get through this, but I will do it. Question number 5 asks for the top 5 classic books you would like to read soon. I decided that for this question, I'm going to talk about classic books that aren't on my classics list for this year, because that kind of feels like cheating. One classic in the traditional sense of the word, meaning an ancient classic that I still need to read, is Ovid's Metamorphoses. I meant to get to this at the end of last year and got distracted by other books, so I want to come back to this one. I also want to move on to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea by Jules Verne. I just read his book Journey to the Center of the Earth earlier this year, and ironically enough, what I liked least about that book was the adventure sections. I really liked the opening portion. I thought it was hilarious, and I wish the whole book had been like that. So I really want to move on to some of his other books and see if they're a little bit more consistent for me. It's also about time that I read Uncle Tom's Cabin by Harriet Beecher Stowe. There are so many classic books out there, including this one, that I just can't believe weren't a part of my high school curriculum, but I really feel like it's important for me now as an adult to go back and read them. I also definitely want to read Cranford by Elizabeth Gaskell. Her 2 novels, Wives and Daughters and North and South, are 2 of my all-time favorite books. Not just all-time favorite classics, but all-time favorite books. So I've been going back and reading through all of her other novels. And finally, a more modern classic that I hope to pick up in the not-too-distant future is Cold Comfort Farm by Stella Gibbons. From everything I hear about this one, it seems to be a funny, rural soap opera, which is more or less what I was looking for from Far From the Madding Crowd, and definitely did not receive. I really didn't like that book, but I have high hopes that I will like this one. Question number 6 is, what is your favorite modern book / series that is based on a classic? For me, that would definitely be Bridget Jones's Diary. I don't know if it's super well known that this is a retelling of Pride and Prejudice, but in case you didn't know, it's a retelling of P&P. I try to reread this one every other year around Christmas time. It's turned into a really delightful tradition of mine. This is basically Pride and Prejudice if Lizzie Bennet was a neurotic 30-something living in the 90s, early 2000s. It's fantastic. Question number 7 is, what is your favorite movie version or TV series based on a classic? This is unbelievably hard because I have so many different favorites, but if we're talking about a straight up adaptation of a classic work, I have to say I much prefer the miniseries format. So the 1995 BBC miniseries of Pride and Prejudice, the 1999 BBC miniseries of Wives and Daughters, and the 2006 BBC miniseries of Jane Eyre with Toby Stephens and Ruth Wilson. I cannot pick a favorite out of those 3 because they are all perfection in my eyes. The one exception to my preference for miniseries is the 2002 adaptation of The Importance of Being Earnest. I think it works as a movie because it's actually adapting a very short play by Oscar Wilde, so the length of a movie really fits it well, whereas I am very much of the opinion that you need a miniseries to do the book justice. There's just too much content to fit into a movie. Not only is the movie perfectly casted, but I feel like it captures the wit and the absurdity of the play. It is one of my very favorite movies. Question number 8, in your opinion, what is the worst classic to movie adaptation? I really don't feel that Mansfield Park has ever gotten a truly good adaptation. In every single one I've seen, they take the character of Fanny Price and try to turn her into a confident, assertive woman. And I know why they do that. They're trying to make her more compelling on screen, but that's not who Fanny Price is, meaning that we've never had a faithful adaptation of Mansfield Park before. I'm very tempted to say that I think Mansfield Park is just one of those books that can't properly be adapted into a movie or a TV series. Fanny Price is very quiet. She has a rich inner world, but to the outside world, she looks sickly and passive. It looks like she lets people beat up on her. I think it's one of the reasons why a lot of people don't like the character of Fanny Price. I don't think there's any good way to have her be a compelling character on the screen while being able to understand how strong she actually is on the inside. So maybe this is just one of those books that shouldn't be adapted. Question number 9 asks for your favorite editions that you would like to collect more classics from. My favorite editions would, of course, be the Reader's Digest World's Best Reading editions. I kind of stumbled into collecting these. I would find some of them at used bookstores. I really liked how they looked. I really liked how they felt when I was reading them. And I just kind of decided that I would look out for them. And then one day I made a very spontaneous decision to buy a big lot of them on eBay and really start my collection. I did a video showing off the 37 books, I think it was, that I got in that haul, and also discussing the history of these editions. This is one of my favorites of the ones I have so far. This is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, but as you can see, they're beautiful. They also hold up really well. They're very sturdy. They are often illustrated. They're great to have around. They're great to read. They're great to just look at. I love them. I want to collect all of them, but there are quite a few editions. I recently did just get another batch of them from a seller on Mercari. I have yet to show those ones off, but hopefully I will do that soon. Very soon here, I'm planning on getting a new bookcase to put just these editions. It probably won't fit here in my reading room, but probably another room in our place. I'm very excited about it. And the last question number 10, is what is an underhyped classic that you would recommend to everyone? Well, other than Mansfield Park, which deserves far more love than it actually receives, I would also say The Tenant of Wildfell Hall by Anne Bronte. Anne Bronte tends to get overshadowed by her sisters. I feel like this is a well-known fact by this point. Far more people have read, or at least have heard of, Jane Eyre and Wuthering Heights, whereas I don't feel like a lot of people know anything about Anne Bronte, and definitely if they know know anything about Anne Bronte, they're probably going to know about Agnes Grey. I just don't hear The Tenant of Wildfell Hall being spoken about with the same frequency as the rest of the Bronte novels, and that is such a shame to me because I actually think it's Anne's most accomplished novel. I think it's fantastic. I think fans of Jane Eyre would really love it because it is a Gothic novel. It's also really progressive for its time. I can't say in what way or else it would spoil it, but it's fantastic. I really recommend it. I actually need to go out and buy my own copy of it. So at long last, that was the Classics book tag. Very happy I finally got to this. This was a lot of fun. I don't know who all has done this tag in the past or who wants to do this tag, so I will use my fallback tag response and just say anyone who wants to do this tag, if you think it's fun, if you haven't done it yet, please go ahead and do it and say I tagged you if you'd like to. Any comments or questions about anything you've seen in this video or about anything in general can go down in the comment section below, but if you would like to reach out to me somewhere other than YouTube, I am on a variety of different places on social media, and the links to all of my profiles will be in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.